All right, everybody, welcome back to Beyond the Bend. I'm sitting down here with a heavy hitter. Welcome, Thom.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
All right, let's start it off like we do always. Tell me about the first time you saw someone bend a piece of steel.
Actually, the first time I really saw someone bend a piece of steel was Anton Sydén.
Okay,
We,
yeah.
we, I hit him up on a Swedish training firm called Colosseum, and he gave me some advice regarding grippers, and he even made my first grip tools, my pinch block, my loading pin, everything. He made it for me super
Oh,
cheap
nice.
to get me into grip sport. Uh, and we talked for a while, and he started with this bending, steel bending, and I knew about steel bending because I was also following David Wigren, but he wasn't really into much bending at the time.
Yeah.
So I saw some photos of his bent steel, and I asked him about it, but I really didn't see anyone bend until Anton started to bend steel, and also tried to get me to bend steel. This was actually, I think, in the beginning of 2019, or even earlier. He
Uh-huh.
sent me some advice, and also sent me some steel later on. But the thing is, what he was doing double overhand bend, and I couldn't figure it out, man. I was going here, and I was using jeans, as he did,
Yeah.
using jeans, and I got stainless bars, 6 millimeter stainless bars,
Yeesh.
and I was bending them, but he sent me these 8 millimeters hot rolled steel, and he was saying these are kind of easy. You will definitely bend them.
Yeah.
And I took them in my pair of jeans, and it was 100% impossible. I wrecked my hands totally, and I tried it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. I couldn't budge it. I couldn't do anything with it. So I actually stopped trying because I got injured from it, and had so much with grip sport and chasing the Captain of Crush 3 certification,
Yeah.
etc. So I laid it off. But Anton was the first guy I saw bend steel.
Wow, that's cool. And what was the inspiration to get into the grip training at that time?
The grip, I always been impressed by strong grip, and grippers was always something I looked people close grippers. I had no clue really how hard or so they were, but I knew it was hard. So when I started powerlifting 2016, I noticed I had a pretty good grip on the deadlift bar.
Yeah.
Double overhand was always part of my warm up to 200 kilos, and people
Wow,
say, yeah,
cool.
you have a pretty good, decent grip, and I was like, yeah,
Yeah.
okay. So I looked into it a bit, and I saw, yeah, okay, I gotta reach 500 pounds.
Yeah, nice.
That's a goal. So I actually started training for it, and I took it like 2 sessions. I got 500 double overhand. So Anton told me, you have a serious grip. Try monkey grip. So I tried without the thumbs,
Right.
thumbs on the
Yeah.
same side. Not There's two types of monkey grip. Like some people hold thumbs like this, or some people
On the
hold it on the
bar.
bar. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I were holding it on the bar, and 180 kilos was no problem. 200 kilos was no problem, and I got 210 kilos the third session I tried it. So hey, I got a nice grip. But Anton, which gripper should I buy? Like people are closing 1, 2s, 3s, but where do I start? Because I'm also cheap, so I don't want to buy like all of them.
Yeah.
Uh, and he told me to go for the Captain of Crush number 2.
Yeah.
Uh, and I got it home and opened it up. And the first day I missed it by a hair. Like
Okay.
it was almost closed, but not really. It wasn't a proper close. So I
Yeah.
had to check the technique. So I went onto to YouTube and found Paul Knight's video, how to set a gripper. It's the
Yeah.
best video to learn how to set grippers. No offense to anyone else, but
Yeah.
it's the key points he's making, and it's easy to follow.
Yep.
And the second day I tried it again. I did like 5 reps on it.
Nice.
And from there on, I got stuck to grippers, doing them almost every day, wrecking my hands 100%. Like I got so inflamed, it was hard to grip like milk, etc. I couldn't hold
Oh,
on to
no.
it.
Yeah.
It was so inflamed. So I got injured as anyone else who doesn't really take it serious. They don't warm up for it. They sit in their couch like squeezing.
Yeah.
These are actual hard stuff. You can't be doing that because you really
Yeah.
injure yourself. And after that, I thought about, okay, so I'm gonna buy a number 3 to see where I'm at. And I also bought a number 2.5 the same day. So I started with ripping out to 2.5, setting it, closing it, super happy. I got it. Open out the number 3, also totally like stupid. I didn't even rest between the 2.5 and the 3. I set the video on and I opened the package and I closed it, the number 3, on the first attempt. And I was like, I'm so good at this. I'm so good. I got super hubris. Problem was I used so much strength for that. So my hands got so inflamed. I couldn't close it again for 2 to 3 months.
Oh my gosh.
I had to back off so hard because
Yeah.
totally wrecked my hands. So that's the gateway into grip sport. And then Anton sent me
Gotcha.
tools to try it. And the thing that inspired me into grip sport and the competition style grip sport, like with these famous implements, these normal implements, was that David Wigren was holding a grip contest, Swedish Grip Open.
Oh, cool.
2019. So he told me I had to join. So I started lifting pretty seriously, like four times a week. Mostly grip. I powerlifting was out of the table. I had to do grip, only grip. I moved gym to find an axle.
Yeah.
And this is actually a kind of funny story. I actually owe David Wigren a Swedish record.
Oh yeah.
Because first time I tried an axle, I lifted 180 kilos on it. And he said like that's amazing. That the Swedish record is actually 180 kilos or something like that. So okay, and so I continued and I lifted 190 on this axle, but this had knurlings, so it wasn't really the same.
Right.
So I tried the other axle at the gym, which had tires on them, a strongman axle.
Yeah.
But it was smooth, the whole axle. And I could lift 190 kilos on that too. So I was like, yeah, this axle thing is pretty cool. I'm pretty good at it. So Wigren actually ordered an Ironmind Apollon bar from USA to the contest because he wanted to see me break the Swedish record on it.
Yeah.
Coming up to the contest, let's say I wasn't as strong as I thought. Already at 155 kilos, I dropped the bar.
Oh no.
The problem was that the strongman axle at the tires was skewed, so the weight was hanging like this.
Okay. Yeah.
So when it was rotating, it put like this, so they had no rotation of the bar whatsoever.
Yeah.
So I had no clue. So
man.
yeah, I owe him a Swedish record.
I'm sure you'll get to it.
Yeah.
So that's a crazy amount of like natural grip strength you basically started with. So have you always just been strong as hell as a kid, or what, like where did all this natural strength come from?
Yeah, it comes from natural. I've always been the big strong guy.
Yeah.
Since I was a little kid, I was big. I wasn't as heavy as I am now. When I was young, I was playing football for many years. So I was like, when I was 15, well, it's pretty heavy to be 90 kilos as 15-year-old, but at 190 centimeters, it's not that much. But it was when I realized when I started doing powerlifting, I started to understand that, okay, I have pretty good strength, but the weight always went up as well. I couldn't stay lightweight. It's very hard for me.
Yeah, gotcha. And did you do like, you know, you've heard the show, were you growing up working on a farm or working like with your dad or anything like that? Was there any like natural strength developed from that kind of stuff, or were you just always naturally strong?
I think I was always just naturally strong. I could, like, my mother had horses at home, and of course I was carrying some hay, etc.,
Yeah.
helping her like this. But that would be lying to say I got any strength from that, because I didn't really do much. So I guess it comes just from genetics.
Yeah, gotcha. I'm sure carrying hay had something a little bit to do with it.
It didn't make it worse.
Yeah, for sure.
Gaming did make it worse. I was a gamer
Yeah.
for many years as well. That made it worse.
That will.
I mean, my pelvic tilt when I started doing powerlifting, I couldn't like lay in a bed without having my back hurt, because I couldn't put it in like that angle, etc.
Gotcha. Yeah. Well, so you started off with that steel that Anton sent you, and you said double overhand was really tough. Actually, I was just scrolling back on your Instagram and I saw you post a video from about a year ago where you were like struggling with the double overhand. So you've made
I
obviously
couldn't do it.
incredible progression since then in just technique and then obviously overall strength. But what was it about the steel that just got you so pumped up? Obviously, like, you went on a crazy tear.
Yeah, I started doing steel bending again because there's a Swedish grip competition that's 20 years old, Löddeköping Grip Challenge. It's Arne Persson and Mikael Siversen. Mikael Siversen is pretty known in the grip community. Okay. They always ran reverse or double underhand bending at their competitions. And so I was training if that competition would be run 2020. So I started doing reverse and double underhand bending with help from David. And I was strong at those styles and it was fun, but there was always something with this. I can't double overhand bend. I can't do it. It's impossible for me. I can't do it. And it triggered me. It was like, why? I need to fix this, because I was bending G8's 207s from David Horn reverse, and that piece of bolt is the worst bolt that ever made. It's the hardest bolt in the world. I'm pretty sure it's impossible to bend it. It kills me every time, both reverse and double underhand. I can get it to like 5 degrees, 10 degrees, but I can never bend it then. So I was like, okay, I've got to start doing double overhand bend because I want to do heavier bends. And David Wigren, I said this in my red nail certification. David Wigren's advice was, I have good technique, I'm just weak, and I need to grow a beard to get stronger. So I got the beard, and Siamak, Iron Wrist on Instagram, actually sat down with me, not in the flesh, but over Facebook, and during a bending session, he gave me the advices I needed to hear. I was going from having troubles bending 7mm nails, and he said, like, you need to try to come down under your shin more. And I tried and I tried, and my hands were sore, but then you suddenly, wow, this nail was nothing. It was like it didn't even exist behind my hand, between my hands. It was gone. I was like, I think I finally understood how to do it. And it's like, it's not about bending down, it's about bending up. So my cue is actually not going forward or down or anything. I'm going up. I'm trying to go straight up almost.
Wow.
So I said, hey, I'm gonna try another bolt. So I went to the G8s, 207s because I hated them. So I just had to kill it.
Yeah.
And same thing happened to that ball. It just disappeared. It was like this ball that's been messing my hands up for days now.
Yeah.
It disappeared. I crushed it. Like, it was nothing. Okay, so I can double overhand bend, and then I got hooked into the heavier steel.
Yeah. Nice. And had you gotten a proper set of wraps by that point, or was this still in the gym?
Yeah, at that point, I had my horn wraps. They were
cool.
completely messed up, but I was bending in loose horn wraps because at the time I didn't really care about wrapping that tightly, like whatever. It's something, you know, that they think they actually does a difference, and I was like, nah, I'm gonna loosely roll it and then bend it. So I had David Horn pads and I had Iron Mind pads. Well, I didn't have Iron Mind pads. I had some homemade Cordura pads that I got from a friend called Björn Ståhl. He sent me to prepare for the red nail cert.
Okay, cool.
So because leathers to Cordura need you need to train it for a few sessions to get the technique around it. It can be a bit more painful, etc. So he sent me that Cordura, and I bought Iron Mind pads, and I bought some red nails. Problem in Sweden is to buy red nails because shipping from USA is nuts.
Is it? Okay. Yeah.
So the red nails here are like, they are very rare. No one has them. You can't really buy just 1 or 2 or 3 or so. You have to buy them from Iron Minds, and if you're gonna buy from Iron Mind, you have to buy bulk because it's so expensive to ship it. So I found 3 red nails at Gods of Grip in Great Britain, and that was before Brexit. So the shipping was not that bad.
Cool.
So I had 3 red nails to attempt to get a cert on. And when I got it the first time, it was nothing. Prior to that bend, I was already bending 8mm stainless at 7 inches, so in imps. So it was nothing.
Wow. So specifically, you said like you sort of cued yourself to press up, not down. What other things in that first session did Simiak go over with you? Because double overhand is a super technical style, and it's a style that people get pretty frustrated with or injured with or whatever. So what were some technical aspects that you guys went over there, and then maybe stuff that you've learned along the way that could help out some?
I learned so much, but today I'm giving Siamak advice. So, but the things he was trying me to do was like holding the elbows up and get it close to my shin, etc. And bend it forward. But he didn't really. We thought like, okay, I'm way too stiff, and my biceps are too big to get in position. Like, this is not gonna work. So before, during this time, I did a lot of mobility work, and I see many people that double overhand bend has very much to gain from gaining mobility in the upper back, in the I can't pronounce it, thoracic spine. Mobility. So my go-to exercise was having my hands behind my head, go to a wall, put my elbows up, and starting pressing like this. And also opening up my shoulders against walls, doing the wall slides, etc. To gain that mobility to get the bar close enough, because in the beginning I couldn't get it like where I needed it to go, but I could get it under my shin and then use my head to push the bar down, like Aaron Corcoran style.
That's kind of what I did too, actually.
Because the mobility isn't there in the beginning, so I had to work it down into position. When I got a position, it bends automatically. When you find that sweet spot, is like the steel is just gone. It's just bent already.
Yeah.
So getting that mobility is a key factor, and also this Josh Shocking Canucks Instagram picture with the arrows where the bar should be going. Like you shouldn't be bending down, you shouldn't have your pinkies down, etc. You shouldn't crush it inwards. You're going forward with the bend. That makes such a huge difference. But you also that spot is different for people. I've noticed I coach people trying steel for the first time. Some naturals, they're bending steel right away because they can find that sweet spot. And if we find that sweet spot, things will go down.
Yeah, for sure.
Like I watched this Greek guy, I can't pronounce his name. He's the guy behind the arm lifting Greece, I think. He started to bend some stuff. The other day, I saw him bend a G8 out here, like almost not Heslop style, but seriously, he was bending it out here and actually got it bent. I was like, whoa, I wasn't close to that. I couldn't bend a 8mm hot rolled steel like that. Like, if he gets the technique down, he's gonna bend some serious steel.
I've seen Ruben Hughes do something similar with a G8 that's like kind of out here, like almost under the skin, but not really. Pretty crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy. But so deep inside, up with the elbows, elbow drive, as Derek say, elbows forward, pinkies upwards, and then you just crush it.
Awesome. So it all happened pretty quickly then. You sort of mastered your style of double overhand, and then how long until you were bending the 8mm stuff?
The 8mm stuff, I mean, I was already beyond the 8mm stuff.
Oh, sorry.
When I learned, so
what was,
it was like
red nail diameter. That's 8mm, isn't it?
Yeah. So, but
okay, so you were already double overhanding.
That first session with Siamak that I bent the G8, that was like the session after that I tried the 8mm cold rolled steel and it bent. Session after that I tried 8mm stainless steel and it bent.
Oh wow, okay, cool.
And session after, I got stuck with the 8mm hex bar at 7 inches. I couldn't kink it. Got stuck with that until I got stuck with that because that's a really the thing. Anton sent me that piece, and everything Anton is sending is like the highest quality steel out there. It's always super hard. It doesn't matter if it's hot rolled steel, it's the highest rating you can see. If it's cold rolled steel, it's the highest rating. And this hex was as hard as old school benders. I've been told this by a vegan, of course. The old school bender had the Hexa bastard from FBBC, but there was a bastard was so hard they called it a hexatard because it was retarded hard. And he actually sent me a piece of hexatard, and it was almost easier than the thing Anton sent me in the beginning. So no wonder I got stuck on that. I didn't bend that until I started doing double wrapping. And then after a few sessions of not respecting it anymore, I bent it. So that was just like, it was one month or so.
Wow, that's crazy. So it really was just about like technically unlocking the ability to hit that double overhand.
Yeah, when the technique went down and it stopped hurting my hands. Like in the beginning, I got skin tears, like blisters in the hand, etc. Everything disappeared when I learned the correct technique. Even today, I have like girl hands. They're not hard than anything because there's not so much pressure in my palm when I bend. On my fingers, on my index fingers, sure, some pressure when I do single wrapping. But even there, I don't get any hard skin. I have hard skin, but I don't wreck my hands anymore.
Interesting.
So about that time, after the red nail cert, the first hinder I had was the Horido 8/8 bolt.
Yeah.
Or well, it was supposed to be a hinder because Wigren and Siamak and Anton, everybody said like the steel you've been bending now is much easier compared to the 8/8 bolt. The 8/8 bolt is the big. This is the first big hard bolt. This will be a problem for you. And so when I got the bolts home and I wrecked my first, when I tried it the first time in doubles and bent it in like 3 minutes or so. Wigren and Siama were like, no way, dude. This bolt, it was broken. This bolt is broken. It was something wrong with that bolt. And the thing is, because I was starting to believe that, like, yeah, perhaps this bolt was, because it was easy. It didn't have a crush. It didn't have a sweep. It didn't have anything. It was like, I just crushed it. And I tried it the day after, and it really, because I got so tired from the 8/8 the first time, apparently it took me 8 or 9 minutes to bend it the day after.
Oh man.
So I was like, oh, okay, perhaps this first bolt was malfunction, like it was broken. Perhaps there was something wrong with it. But then I rested for some days, and 8/8 wasn't the problem really.
And is that the first bolt you tried that you used doubles on? Was that when you started using doubles?
The hex, the 7 inches hex cold rolled. That was the first bolt I tried doubles on. I wasn't like, the thing is, I got stuck like in the, I don't want to, and this is Adam Glass' fault actually, because he said bending isn't injury prone until you go big pads bending, because then you will bend so hard stuff, your body will like not be able to handle it. So I was like, yeah, okay, so I'm gonna go. And many people I know, many people say that bending in singles and with lesser wrapping, etc., is better or something. And I was kind of stuck in that, because I also wanted to do it. It's harder, it's more painful, etc.
Yeah.
But then I got caught on the because I destroyed the hex bar with the doubles, and like, okay, so I can do so much more powerful steel.
Yeah.
I want to continue to see how hard bars I can bend. I wanted to chase that, but I also had in the back of my mind, I wanted my single bending to come with it. Like, I don't want to be just a good double wrap guy.
Right.
So I got pretty disappointed when I was double overhand bending with doubles for a while, and then I started doing singles again. I was like, whoa, shit, I'm not that much stronger in singles.
Yeah.
So I thought, okay, so perhaps I need to train in singles to get my single bending up. But after just 2 sessions of doing it in singles, dialing in the technique, dialing in where to hold, because it's a bit different, I was a much stronger single pad bender as well. So bending in double wraps made me so much stronger that when I'm going back to singles, I'm getting used to singles again. I've gained so much more strength that even my single pad bending is stronger. And for me, pain tolerance haven't been a problem in singles. And I think that's because I have so good technique, because I suck at like 1 imp bends. I can't do it. It's impossible. Even easy steel, I can't do it. So my pain tolerance isn't that great. But perhaps the technique is letting me bend hard stuff anyway.
Gotcha. That's pretty interesting.
Yeah, because we discussed it, because Wigren was a single pad guy before as well, like training in it with minimal padding, removing pads. And I'm not saying it wrong. It's like it it can definitely help you perhaps on the bar you're chasing in single pads.
Yeah.
But my advice to people is like, if you're having problems with that, try doubles to gain more strength and then go back to singles.
Yeah.
And Siamak have done a little of both, and I think both him and Vigren are now convinced that building strength in doubles is perhaps a good thing to do.
Yeah, I could see that. And I think it also maybe gives you a little bit of a psychological edge because
Yeah.
you actually are bending the thing that's giving you
Yeah.
trouble. And
yeah, that's so much. That's so much. When you bend it the first time and you start bending it regularly in doubles, and then you go to it in singles, it's just like, okay, this is something that's it's nothing.
yeah,
So you have the advantage of that, and it does much the mental state.
yeah. I felt that even more actually, like even when I got into snapping a lot was like when I really started like snapping reds for David Horn's page and stuff like that. The
Yeah.
whole bar just seemed less intimidating. Like I can just snap this thing. Like obviously I could just try to bend it now. You know, it was like just my
Yeah.
whole psychological like positions changed on like the way I saw a red nail, you know what I mean? After
You're not scared of it. You don't hesitate to bend it or try to bend it. And I think that's one of the big factors in why my road on the double overhand bending has been very fast, because
yeah,
I didn't really care about ratings. I didn't care that much about can I bend it. I just tried it.
yeah,
So I got steel and I bent it, and then I figured out, okay, this is supposed to be very hard. This is
yeah,
rated this and this and this, and okay, nice, I bent it. And not looking that much into it, I think helped me on the road
yeah,
to bending heavier steel,
yeah,
double overhand bending. But it's so much about I want to point out the mobility thing again. It's so
yeah,
much about mobility, core strength, every back strength, upper back strength, shoulders.
yeah. So what's like a normal bending session looking like for you? Not like when you're just squeaking it in like between doing other stuff, but an actual bending session. What do you do? Are you warming up with like mobility stuff and then doing some warm-up bends, or what's a bending session look like?
Today I'm not doing so much mobility stuff before. If I'm going for a serious bending session, I'm doing some grip lifts. I just recently got to borrow an inch dumbbell.
Yeah,
So I'm lifting it like to get the CNS activated, so I can like being warm in the body and being on par with what I'm doing.
yeah,
Because if you go in too sleepy, you won't be able to activate properly. Then I just start to bend. I start with 1 or 2 easy 7mm nails at 8 inches. That's good to start at 8 inches because you get the mobility from that. You get into position, you can bend at gold nail length.
yeah,
Both for if you're going 7 inches bending or gold nail bending, because you will have to have the mobility anyway. So I
yeah,
work up 1, 2, 3, or 4 bars in order. My last bar is like often I go 2 7mm nail and then something in the 8mm region. If it's a bastard or if it's like it can be a hex, it doesn't really matter. Something in between that to actually get me fired up, like feeling some pain, feeling something in my hands before I attempt to bend harder. At gold length, it's more I can bend a few pieces at gold length. At 7 inches, I just bend one most of the time because it's so hard. I'm fried afterwards. I can't do more than one.
Gotcha.
So that's like a normal session for me. I don't do that much long bending sessions. I only do like 35-40 minutes of bending, but every 3 or 4th day.
Okay, so every 3 or 4 days, that's it.
Yeah.
So, okay, cool.
Depends. If I go to arm wrestling practice, I will have to rest for like 7
Sure.
days. So it
Yeah.
depends on how broken down I am.
Yeah. Now let's talk about the inch real quick, because obviously that's a real notable thing in this world, and it seems like you had no problem lifting that thing up.
Yeah, yeah. It's like I actually surprised myself with that lift. I didn't think I would be able to get it. So
Yeah.
I haven't been doing much grip sport lately, so I haven't done much thick bar at all.
Yeah.
When I did, I actually my friend from Sweden, Andreas Harén, he made me a Holler Up dumbbell. You know, when the center of the handle, the bar isn't centered in the handle.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yes. Yeah.
I trained with that and did pretty good numbers on that. That should transfer to be lifting an inch from Nathan Hall. He said, like,
Right.
if you do 60 plus with this, you can definitely lift an inch.
Uh-huh.
But I haven't been doing thick bar for so long, so I thought like, okay, I will probably have a hard time lifting this. And I got the inch home, and I can say my nerve system was so fired up because I picked up the inch dumbbell from the car and I carried it inside like a baby on my arms, like totally stupid. And I went inside, I went to the elevator, I sat down with it in my lap and went up to the floor I stood up, I walked into the yard inside, I walked up 17 stairs, and then I put it down for the first time. So I was like dead when I got in.
Yeah.
And I went into the room and I thought, I'm gonna try it. I'm gonna try it now. And I had my wife in there. She filmed me, and I had a pillow because I'm gonna break the floor if I dropped it. I first gave it a hesitant try lift. Like I didn't go full into it, and like this is actually moving. I'm getting it halfway up there. So wait a minute. I'm gonna try it. So I went in 100% and I got it up to lockout.
Yeah.
This is a heavier inch. It's 80 kilos instead of 78.
Oh wow. Damn.
So
Great.
it was very fun. And it was weird because I got it with my left hand, not with my strong right hand.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Have you got it with your strong hand now, or?
Yeah, the day after.
Okay.
But it's been the strong, my dominant hand, my right hand has been lacking in a few. It's like it's slower to adapt to new implements, but when it does, I'm way stronger.
Yeah, I remember when I had Tanner Merkel on, he was the first person to really talk about that I was aware of, that there were certain things where he was stronger with his non-dominant hand, and that just blew my mind, because I'm like so dominant on one side. I just can't even imagine being strong on the other side for certain things. But and then I guess that's a common thing with other, Rolling Thunder might be better for somebody on their non-dominant hand.
It has a at least mine has an explanation, because my longest finger is 5 millimeter longer on my left hand than on my right hand, so I get a little better wrap around thick bars with my left hand. So I guess I have to compensate. That's why my right is a bit slower, because I have to compensate in implement knowledge or getting used to it, where my left has some slight advantage of the length.
Wow, that's crazy.
So, but it was massive to get it on the first go. I borrowed this from Björn Ståhl, so I want a shout out to him, because he's a great guy, lending me all this stuff and
that's cool,
helping me out with everything. He's been a part of the grip journey so far.
Yeah, I can't imagine. I mean, those things are rare here in the States. I can't imagine there's too many floating around Sweden, or is there?
There hasn't been, at least not until Nathan Hall started making his. Arne Persson has had 1 inch. I don't know where it's from, but I heard it's kind of weird. It's not made as they should. It's like hollow on some parts and stuff
Oh,
rolling around in it. So I heard it's kind of weird, but I
yeah,
haven't tried it, so I can't confirm or so. Then
yeah,
there's been some strength shop circus dumbbells with the longer handles in Stockholm. We have the best grips guys in Sweden, Kalle and Kim, and the Dala is playing with them at a gym in Stockholm.
gotcha.
This inch dumbbell was made for a guy in the northern part of Sweden. He Fist of Fury on gripboard. He actually ordered it from Germany from a company called PBM, I think. So it's CNC lathed.
Right, nice.
So yeah, so
That's
it's cool, very cool.
Yeah. It looked a little different actually when I was looking at
Yeah,
it.
it's shiny as
Yeah,
well, and the steel handle in the middle, it looks
yeah,
really
that's
cool.
cool. Yeah.
So now I'm dying to try Vigren's, because Vigren got a Nathan Hall dumbbell, and I want
All
to
right.
check if it's easier or harder, how much the weight difference does, etc., etc.
Yeah, cool. So what about normal strength training? What's that like for you these days?
Yeah.
What are you doing and how often?
Well, it's been too little to that's for sure. It's been too little strength training. Since we had so much with I just moved into a new house, and during the build of this house, I had to do a lot of things like with the entrepreneurs, etc. So, and my wife was working nights, not nights, but evenings.
Yeah,
She worked evenings, so I had my two kids to take care of.
right.
Yeah, they're 3 and 5, so I couldn't really after work. I picked them up, they're tired, etc. I can't really go to the gym with them. I could if I wanted to, but they're tired. It doesn't
Right.
really fit in the day for them. So
Yeah.
I started doing like commercial gym stuff 45 minutes during my lunch break, and that doesn't really work for me because I get nothing done. I have no time for squats or deadlift on the same
Yeah.
session, or I just had to, and I tried to go bodybuilder, sitting in the machines doing
Yeah.
pumping stuff, and like this is so boring. I want to like lift something heavy.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's what I've been doing. I'm doing some focuses on the press, and when I could go during weekends, I went to the arm wrestling gym where I have Apollon replica, etc. So I could do some axle training, but that was like once in a month or even less. So
Yeah,
I've been trying to keep up, but I haven't improved.
I see. So just like maintenance stuff for now.
Yeah. Until it calms down. Wife is starting to work day now, so
Oh
we will
yeah.
see. Perhaps my bending will go down because she will be home every night, but
Yeah.
we will see.
What do you do for a living, if you can say?
I'm a salesperson. I
Okay,
work in commercial on digital billboard
I
screens.
see.
Yeah.
Nice. Cool. So what about injuries? You said your technique's so dialed that you haven't really suffered from too much like hand stuff. Have you
Yeah.
had any setbacks from injuries or?
I had a big setback, or big, well, 2 months isn't that big, but for me it was big.
Yeah, it's a lot of big sessions to miss.
When I started the red nail, I actually wrote to Randall Strassen because they were sending me the T-shirt, from the certification, and I asked him if he could send me a gold nail to have as a display piece to watch it, like, because that will never get bent.
Yeah.
Like I can play with it, paperweight.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
he actually sent me one, so
Cool.
of course I had to try it, and I rushed into it. As with all other stuff, I started bending 8mm rebars at gold length, but I didn't really have anything heavier than rebar at gold length, and
Yeah.
that's very far from a gold nail.
Yeah.
So I went in at it with double wraps, and it moved 10 degrees. But I injured my left wrist, so I couldn't really be crushing anything for like 2 months, nothing heavy at least. But
Yes.
I just continued to bend 7 inches steel, so it healed eventually from itself.
Gotcha.
It wasn't that bad. And also I had an injury from when me and Wigren and Siamak met up to do some bending together. We were bending this 8.8 millimeter nail, and since they knew they couldn't beat me at 7 or 8 inches, they wanted to go the full 11 inches. So it was like totally outside of my shoulders, and Wigren actually bent it. He won that because I couldn't move it, and when I tried to move it, something in my sternum at the clavicular bone, or what it's called, actually popped, and it was a nasty pop. I have a video on it. I'm like, guys, did you hear that? Something popped. It was bad. But I think it was just something, I forgot what it's called in English, the thing between your bones at the rib cage.
Your sternum?
Yeah, but the thing between the sternum and the ribs,
cartilage or something.
Yeah, something like that, that moved. So it was like bad for 2 months, but it wasn't painful. I couldn't deadlift, but I could bend steel, so it was nice.
That's great.
So no big injuries more than that.
That's good.
Yeah. I've been lucky because the way I've been bending, perhaps I should have some more injuries.
Yeah, so you mentioned the gold. Obviously, that's like a very notable bar within steel bending. You're one of the few people to have bent it in doubles. So just talk about that experience, and just touch on the gold nail, what that was like.
It's been a story because I got that first 10 degrees on the gold nail from Randall. And I laid down because I got injured, and I never really picked it up because it was so hard. But then I got stronger and stronger, and I started the 10.9 bolt at burritos, and I wanted to bend this gold nail. So I reached out to Juha Lehtimäki, if you know.
Yes. Someone I'd like to get on the show eventually, for sure.
Yeah, he should definitely go on the show. He's a great guy. I saw that he was bending some gold nail equivalents. At least the measurements were the same, but not as hard. So I asked him where he got them, and he got them from a friend in Finland who works with steel. So I actually bought some of him.
Cool.
And he sent me loads of stuff. He sent me the Swedish gold equivalent length, and the Russian at the same length, or perhaps it was only 7 inches, perhaps not gold. He sent me a bunch of steel. Cool. A lot of fun stuff to try. And he told me like this 9.8 millimeter cold roll steel, Swedish. He said, try it in singles. And I was like, no way, I'm never bending this in singles. Like, you're a strong guy, you can bend it in singles. So I tried it the first time, and I actually got it in singles.
Wow.
And that made me realize, perhaps this gold nail isn't impossible, because this steel rated 220 on the iron grip rating, and the gold nail is like 260 kilo. So I'm 17% off. So perhaps I could bend it. So I started to bend more and more of the longer bars. And I also, during this whole time, we've always been trying different leathers, different leather lengths, different leather thickness, stiffness, hardness, etc. I don't know how many pair of wraps I've tried and crush pads, etc. It's been like nuts. I've had so much
Fun.
scrap at my bending furniture. It's
Yeah.
nuts. And I noticed, okay, I can bend these gold nail lengths in wider wraps, pretty easy.
Yeah.
A 130 millimeter wrap instead of a 100 millimeter wrap does the gold length so easy. It was like hardly any resistance. And then I tried some gold nails I bought 7 gold nails from a guy from Italy. I have no clue who he is. I've never heard his name. I've never seen his stuff, nothing. But he was selling stuff on Gripboard. So I picked up his steel and I tried this old gold nail. And I could bend it in double wrapping 130 millimeters. And I was like, okay. So it started to bend. It took me 5 minutes because it never stopped to fight back. It's why first 10 degrees was hard, 15 degrees was 20, 30, 50, 90. The crush was killing me. I couldn't almost crush it. I'm like, this is a 3/8 of an inch. The crush shouldn't be a problem.
Right.
The crush should be easy. It's a long bar.
Yeah.
And it killed me. And I was like, okay, I'm never bending gold nails in singles. Right. Never, ever. This won't happen. Juha is nuts. Juha is crazy. He's, I don't know how he did it. And Alexander Klimovic, I don't know what they're eating, but something else that I will never do it. And the other day I was bending gold nails, and I actually bent a 9.8 cold roll steel at gold length in Iron Mine pads.
Yeah.
Which I'm very proud of. In 40 seconds or 30 seconds or something, I crushed it. So I was like, I gotta try this Randall gold nail that was pre-bent 10 degrees. And I tried it in doubles because I fought it so many times, it never moved.
Yeah.
And I got it to fold over, and as soon as I got to like 25 degrees, it just folded and died. There was no crush, there was nothing.
Yeah.
So the Italian guy's gold nail from 10 years ago and today's gold nail, something changed.
Yeah.
I don't know if the bar changed or if the rust, because they're rusty as if something happened with them or they've been stored wrong or something, but they are insanely hard, and the newer gold nails wasn't that hard. So
interesting.
Now I'm thinking, perhaps the gold nail certification isn't impossible. I've seen you bend it, I've seen Alexander Klimovic do it. They're both nuts, but perhaps it's possible.
Yeah, that's pretty great, man.
That makes me curious.
Yeah. That's awesome. And how about on while we're talking about the notable stuff, you've worked on a 12.9 that's got some movement. Talk about that one. Yeah,
that was also something we were trying out different wraps, and I tried out 150 millimeter wraps, like super wide wraps, and thick. They're always thick, but this was very thick. And I started to, and it's actually started to, I tried it. I was like, I was fatigued. It was like, I shouldn't even have been trying it. My thought was to do kinky isometric training. I wasn't supposed to move it, and it moved like, I can't remember, 40 degrees or something. Like, whoa, what's up? This is moving. What's happening? And then I worked on it again and got it to 90 degrees or something like that. So I continue to work on the same bar. I haven't really bent it anymore. I haven't tried either because I got so torn with the wider wrap stuff. It was like, it was the same with the double wrapping, okay, so I can bend these heavy bars in wider wraps, but they're wider, they're not standard. We're usually working with 100 millimeters.
Yeah.
Should I continue to develop leathers into being more optimal and bend on bending list that has free leather? You can have any wraps. And my decision was actually to continue with that, because in every other sport there have always been material improvements, like take running now, Nike, those I can't remember, Vaporflies, like they give some percentages faster times, etc. In climbing, I used to see too much YouTube videos, like climbing shoes, etc., etc., knee pads, etc. So why shouldn't I try to develop wraps that are more efficient if the list allows it? So I'm gonna try to improve and do as much as I can. The 12.9, I will continue to work on it. Just now, the gold nail is I need to get some gold nails in Sweden. I saw a shipping quote of $86 on 18 gold nails, and I'm like, that's a bit too much. But I'm gonna see if I can find some in Europe and do that first.
I know
but
David
then I want to
has replicas that actually I've heard are maybe even a little thicker and harder. I think Josh
but I have those already. Those but the hard thing with equivalents, and like I have 3 pieces that I can cut into gold length. The first is an 8.8 millimeter nail. The second is a 9.8 millimeter nail, cold rolled steel from Sweden. And the third is a Russian 9.8 millimeter cold rolled steel. And the 8.8 nail is, if not as hard, it could be even a bit harder than the 9.8 millimeter.
That's crazy.
That's a huge difference, like 8.8 to 9.8, but they feel like the same. The kink is harder on the 8.8 nail. So they vary so, and the Russian 9.8, I can bend the Swedish 9.8 in Ironman pads. I can't bend the 9.8 Russian cold roll steel in doubles, in wider wraps. It was impossible. I got it 10 degrees.
So crazy.
So the variation is so huge. I need to have the real thing or harder to work on, and to know it's harder for sure, because if I'm training on the Swedish cold roll steel and it's 17% off, I'm gonna get wrecked.
Right.
So I need to find that. So there's two legs in bending for me right now. It's the develop leather bending technique and try to bend at 12.9 bolt burritos. And it's to improve my goal length bending, pain tolerance, and see if I can be the first guy who ever certifies on the gold length.
Jesus, that's crazy stuff, man. And while we're talking about Burrito, everybody needs to remember to use promo code CHEERS to support the show and support Burrito. Obviously, we're talking a lot about the gold nail, but Burrito's cert is way better. Everybody knows that Burrito's
definitely 100% sure. John is the greatest guy ever. So
he's the best.
Everyone should start at Burritos. The steps, the bolts he's providing, the consistency he's providing them, the response times on certifications. I mean, when I certed the 10.9 bolt, it was like, I think it was like 10:30 at night, and I sent him the video like spamming. I bent it, and he was like, I'm gonna watch it tomorrow. I was like, no, no, you can't. You have to watch it now. And he was like, "Yoke, I'm already watching it." And he gave me the pass. Funny. Yeah, it's great. So he's like 10:30 at night, should be sleeping. He's watching me bend steel. So he's a great guy.
Yeah, that's the best. And even if double overhand's not your thing, they have every style on there. So there's plenty of stuff to get on there. And if you're worried about shipping, get your friends to get in on the order and split the shipping up. So everybody needs to get on that site.
Yeah, it's the best site. All the lists that on that site is excellent, except the one imp bends, at least you shouldn't even attempt it.
Yeah.
You don't.
Or the bare hand.
I mean, the bare hand, yeah, that's just crazy, and people who can do it, I've tried it sometimes. It's not my thing. Both those styles are very cool to do and takes a lot
Sure.
of dedication to do it. But Belov he's crazy,
So
bending
great.
gold nails in without protection. I mean, people struggle to bend it with protection.
That dude is something else. It was cool to get to learn a little about him last year this time when I was doing up those written ones with the translations and everything. He's a crazy strong guy, and all the other feats he does, like the other, Atlas stones and kettlebells and everything. That dude's just an incredibly strong
He's
guy.
not a one-trick pony. It's not like that. It's an overall strong guy. He's doing crazy, impressive stuff all over. So
the middle finger lifting and all that. It's nuts.
Yeah.
All right, Thom, as we wrap it up, we're going to do the medley. You ready?
Yeah.
All right. Favorite thing to bend, material wise?
Cold rolled steel.
All right. Hardest thing to bend for you? the David Horn G8.
I mean, I gotta say, David Horn G8 is the hardest thing to bend. Buy that stock if you wanted a display piece. It's impossible to bend it. And people snaps it in 10 seconds. I'm like, no.
Did you ever go back and take it down reverse?
No, I haven't returned from double overhand bending to reverse or double underhand. I'm gonna, when it calms down, I'm gonna go back and do double underhand bending, because with the mega wraps I'm using and trying, I think I can cheat my way to almost reaching Delmar's level.
Yeah.
But I need to try it first, because I think with the maximum, you can use so much chest crush when the wraps are wider, so you can really, I think I can bend some. I think my goal is to bend the 8/8 double overhand underhand. So I think I'm going back to that. Also, I need to return to braced bending also. I had a quick search to troll Siamak. I don't know if you read that story.
No, I don't know what you're talking about.
I posted it on Gripboard. It was like, so I couldn't do braced bending at all. I couldn't bend. I couldn't bend 8.8 nails, 8.8 bolts between my legs, and I was like, I can bend 10.9 bolts overhand, but I can't brace bend 8.8 bolts. It's impossible. So Siamak always made fun of me that I couldn't do brace bending. So behind his back, me and David made a little. I decided I'm gonna learn how to do brace bending, and Siamak can't know. He won't know. I won't tell him. I won't show any videos. I won't post anything about it. And I figured out how to brace bend. It was also one of those things, I couldn't do the 8/8 because I was trying to bend backwards with my pinkies backwards instead of upward to my groin. And when I switched positions, so my pinkies were up, I bent the 8/8 like it was nothing. So next day I tried a 10.9 bolt and made a certification video for it, and I bent the 10.9 bolt. It was nothing. So I thought, perhaps I'll try the 12.9 bolt. We're talking about torpedo bolts now again. And I got the 12.9 bolt in 2 minutes as well. So that was like, yes, it was a good week for braced bending. And Siamak didn't know anything about this. So I even made the cert. So the certification was on Horido's webpage. But he wasn't in there watching, so it went like 1 month, 2 months or so, and we went to and I went to Örebro where David and Siamak lives. So we had a training session, and he was starting to walk out, and I'm going home now, guys. I'm like, I'm gonna try some braced bending. You have to stay for this, because I was planning to certify on a 6.5 inch 12.9 bolt. So he thinks I can't brace an 8.8 bolt.
Yeah.
And David hands me this. You know, I only have the only bolt I have of, because I bent the 8.8 as warm up, and he said I only have this 6.5 inches 12.9 bolt, but you can try it if you want, Tom. I'm like, yeah, sure. I don't know anything about brace. I can try it. And Seamak is like standing there watching, like, yeah. And I get the bar and I crush it in 2 minutes. And I'm holding it up, and Seamak is like, there's no reaction on the guy. Like literally no reaction. He didn't do anything. He wasn't smiling. Like, yeah. We're like, aren't you surprised? I just bent the 6.5. They're like, nah, I'm not surprised in anything Tom does. So I'm going home now, guys.
Oh man. So you had all these weeks of secretly training brace for reaction.
Yeah, and the reaction was like straight face, nothing. I'm like, wow, yeah, okay.
That's pretty funny. So have you tried, you said you're going to return to braced, but have you tried anything shorter than the 6.5 on the 12.9?
No, I haven't tried it. It was very, very easy. So I think going down is definitely an option. But at the same time, cutting the same bolt shorter is something, it's kind of boring. I would like to have harder bolts, or do these other brace bends like rebar stuff, etc. Like everything from David Horn, because going shorter is so much about technique and figure out like hand positions using fingers, thumbs, like the what was the steel bending competition David Horn ran the other day?
The short 8mm stuff. Yeah.
So I think that's much more about other stuff than strength.
Yeah.
It's of course it's strength, but it's so much more other technical stuff as well. So
it always like it seems like anything, like so much of it winds up being technical aspects. You know, it's like there is strength, but it's like it just seems like everything gets boiled down to technical aspects in a way.
I don't know if you can hear the construction work in behind me.
Oh no, I can't hear anything.
Good, because my wife is literally destroying our kitchen right now, building some cabin or something. I'm like, what is she doing? It's crazy.
No worries. Have you tried any like of the mid-length bars, like 5/8? We say 5/8. I forget what that is. 16 mil or something like that.
Yeah, not 16 millimeters, but I've tried. It was fun because when they were building my house, they had a lot of rebar, construction rebar, 12mm rebar, and I told them to every scrap they have just put in a pile, and I will bend it later. And I'm like, what? Are you bending it? Yeah, I'm bending it between my legs. So I tried some of that, but I've only done 2 sessions with it. So I bent 12mm rebar at 50 centimeters.
Yeah.
This is very hard rebar, but I think Vigren bent like 40 centimeters of it. So, I have some improvements to do. It's hard because I don't have the correct technique. I want to do the first sweep very far down on my legs, so I'm using my quad instead of my groin to bend stuff, and that makes me bruise a lot.
Yeah, for sure. All right, finishing up with the medley. So strongest bending styles, obviously double overhand. What would you call your weakest style?
Bare hand 1 imp.
How about just like reverse or double underhand, if you had to call which one worse?
I can't. They're at the same level, the reverse and double. I've kinked the red nails in both styles, or perhaps let's say double underhand, because double underhand there's 2 styles, strict and modified, and I haven't done any good strict double underhand bending. So double underhand is my weakest.
All right. And how about something outside of strength sports and bending and grip and all this that you enjoy? Some other hobbies?
kids, wife, house, there's not much room for anything more.
Nice.
That's it.
The best answer, actually, since wiggering has come up a lot on the show, was when I asked him, he just, with a stone cold face, said nothing. He's
Yeah.
like, I don't enjoy anything outside of strength sports.
I made so much fun of him from his episode. I was like, dude, you talk for 45 minutes about arm wrestling in a steel bending podcast. What the fuck are you doing? So that's why I want you to bring him on the show again now when he's into bending again.
Yeah, I will have him on again.
David, come on, arm wrestling. The same in his Iron Man certification. Like, what are you chasing now? Dips? Like, come on, dips and arm wrestling. Come on.
Yeah, it's whatever I can understand that. It's like whatever someone's psyched up about in that moment. Yeah.
It's interesting.
All right, what's the one bend that's got away so far? 12.9?
Yeah, the 12.9 is a work in progress. G8 reverse double underhand. It's the G8. I'm chasing it. I mean, how can it be harder than the red nail? I mean, it's just weird.
That's one I'm working on too. The David Horn G8 reverse wraps touching.
Yeah. It's nuts. It's like, so why? How is it hard? It shouldn't be that hard.
Yeah.
I mean, even Vigren is having problem bending that strict.
That's pretty crazy. Actually.
Yeah.
All right. Who's the strongest person you know? Or you want to bench?
The strongest guy I know is probably one of the Sweden's strongest mans who I trained with for a while, but I'm gonna say Vigren on this. I mean, look, he's doing the flag on a pole with a girl standing on his abs.
So crazy.
I mean, come on.
Yeah.
That's like, that's the strongest shit ever.
Some of the stuff he's done and does leaves me pretty speechless. Like, I can't even.
And he's so versatile. It's not like he's good at just bending one. He's good at everything in bending, and he's strong. I arm wrestle him. He's strong in arm wrestling too, and this yoga he's doing with pole dancing and etc.
Have you arm wrestled him? Have you guys had a match?
Yeah. After the 3-hour bending session, we did some arm wrestling, and I'm new to arm wrestling. I've just done it for like 6 months or so. So he's definitely stronger. I pinned him once in straps. He says he doesn't remember it because he gave me a very, very good strap, and I don't think he was ready for my pull. So he gave too much, and I got him pinned. He doesn't remember it.
Yeah.
In the future, we will see who's the strongest arm wrestler.
All right. And what's the funniest reaction a person has had when they find out you spend your time bending things in half?
I mean, every reaction is priceless. Are you actually bending steel with your hands? Under your shin. Why? Why are you bending steel? Most people think it's very cool though, because I explain to them why I'm doing it and why it brings me more satisfaction than lifting weights, and people can relate to something that's it's more than just strength. It's mental toughness, it's commitment, it's pain tolerance, it's so much more. It's a war, as many people call it.
Definitely.
So no obvious fun reaction. Everyone's like, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah, exactly. I was thinking of that recently where I put just like, without explanation, just put like a snapped bolt like on my story. And I'm thinking about all the other, like maybe people I've known recently that don't know, I mean, what they must think of that. It's just like, why would he put this like construction material that's broken?
Totally random. Like, is he going to artistic mode now, or what is this? Some abstract?
It's gotta be.
I love to, because I never post anything on Facebook. I've never done it like at all, but I
Yeah.
like to from time to time post some random stuff like certification, gripper certifications, nail certification bands, burritos interview, etc. This
Yeah.
podcast I'm also definitely
Oh,
going to share
definitely.
on Facebook, because people will be like, what is he
Yeah.
actually on a podcast talking about bending steel? So
Yeah.
yeah, gonna
So
be
like
great.
someone you met twice when you were like 18 years old can see what you're up to.
Yeah. They all knew I was a weird guy back then, so it's not that strange for most people. I'm doing
Yeah.
stupid stuff.
All right. Who's someone you'd like to see me have on the show?
I want Vegan back to talk about
Yeah.
bending instead of arm wrestling. I would
All right.
like Juha Lehtimäki to be on the podcast also talking about steel bending. He has
Yeah.
so many stories.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, he removed a lot of videos he had from the time he was strong. He's also making, he's not making a comeback, but I know he's bending again.
Oh yeah. Well, he did pop up like last year and take down like the 8.8 and maybe the 10.9. I can't remember.
I think he bent the 10.9 as well. I'm not sure though, but something. But he's definitely bending from time to time again. And I also know he's active in grip sport, so he should be a good guy to have on the show.
All right. Any particular tips you want to give to the beginner benders out there?
My tip in Hurido's interview was to just go out and bend something, even if you don't know if you can bend it. I'm actually gonna stick with that. Just keep trying to bend stuff, even hard stuff, because you will be. Steel has so many variations of toughness, but also the feeling, like the difference between stainless, like you have an easy kink, very hard crush. You have these hexatards that has a super tough kink. You can't kink it, but if you kink it, it's done. So you can find bars that fits your ability to bend and get hype from it. So just because you can't bend this or that nail or bar doesn't mean you can't bend tougher steel,
right?
Because you can surpass that level and find something that suits you, like stainless or something like that. Or perhaps you're super strong at the kink, then a hex that's way out of your league is possible as well.
Yeah.
So
That's
try
good.
stuff. And isometrics is failing is not, it's just training, as
Exactly.
says. So, yeah.
All right. And if people want to say hello to you or ask you a question, what's your Instagram?
Thom Lennix. So it's Lennnex. They're free to message me about anything regarding grip sport, bending, or anything. I love to help people. It's great to get questions. I think I never ignored anyone asking about steel. So hit me up with your questions. I love them.
Perfect. Anything else you want to shout out before we get off of here?
No, I think I mentioned everyone helping me on my journey, sending me stuff to try, and everyone been so great, and the community overall is great. Everyone is friendly, and yeah, it's great. So no, nothing more.
Perfect. I couldn't wrap up this episode without mentioning, I think you have the best bending face of all time. Like when you lay into the bar, like your face is insane.
Yeah, my eyes pop out. They're going everywhere. I'm looking seriously. I'm looking into the future. I can see the future from there.
When we first logged on and I was seeing you, I was like, it doesn't really look like I expected, because I think every time I've seen you, it's just like the bending face, which is like the most intense, like it's the best bending face, dude.
Yeah, and the thing is, I'm so surprised that my face gets so intense, because yeah, sure, my deadlift face is also good and squatting face, etc. But my double overhand bending is so calm and strategic. I'm not going direct, like full fight mode, kill it. Like I'm going very strategic and pretty slow. Well, slow, but my fake makes obviously I'm using full force.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. No, it's great. It's the best. I might have to put on a t-shirt or something.
Yeah, definitely hit me up. Siamak is making all these funny memes with me
Oh, cool.
being the Hulk and stuff, but he haven't. I don't think he made a t-shirt. He made a few t-shirts,
Oh,
but
really?
not with just my face. Yeah, he's
Oh,
made
man.
like 3 or 4 t-shirts. Yeah,
That's
so
awesome.
we should print some, but mostly we're joking about it.
That's great. All right, Thom, this was a blast, man. I'm glad we got to do this. Thanks a lot for coming on.
Thanks for inviting me. It was very, very fun.
All right. I'll talk to you later.
Talk to you later. Bye.